Getting around to reviewing Mandalorian Season 2. In fact, I even had to move that poster to over there and bring this from the basement. I even put on the Star Wars shirt that says Star Wars and there's a Death Star in the back. And I even put on the Star Wars hat because, dear God, I do not want you guys to see my head right now. But I think there's something missing. Oh, I know. Got these bad boys for Christmas, so let's get started. I see it, and now it's all within my reach. I see it now, it's always been inside of me. And now I feel so free, and there's possibility. Hello everyone, and today I'm finally taking a look at The Mandalorian Season 2. So, my opinions on the first season, even though I did do a video on it, I would say they've changed by a little bit. I would definitely say the first season is a solid 8 out of 10, but this season, it goes above and beyond, and is easily the best thing to come out of Disney buying Star Wars, besides the Siege of Mandalore from Star Wars The Clone Wars Season 7. I'm sorry, but nothing can top Siege of Mandalore. That entire arc was just perfection. And with this season, yeah, it is definitely a lot better than the first, but let's take a look at it. Now, what I'm going to do for this video is I think I'm going to do it for when I review stuff like the Marvel Disney Plus shows, is I'm going to take a look at it episode by episode in just one video, rather than trying to, talk about it, all of it simultaneously, because then it will just lead to one big mess of a video that I'm probably just going to look back on in a few months and be like, ugh, why did I make those choices? But anyway, for this video, we're going to do what I said earlier. So basically, we're going to start with episode 1, and I must say, it was a pretty good start to the season. Basically, the plot of the new episode 1 is that Mando is trying to find, he hears about a Mandalorian in Tatooine, and he goes there, while he's also trying to find a Jedi, to train the child, or Baby Yoda as he's called. And yes, he does have an actual name, which we'll get to later on, but right now we're just going to call him Baby Yoda. And when he gets to Tatooine, he meets the Marshal, and this is something I believe was taken from the comics. Don't quote me on this, but I think this was based on one of those comics, and I thought that was pretty cool. And they had to team up with these Tusken Raiders in order to kill this dragon creature, and I thought that was a really cool scene, and I definitely liked the new character of the Marshal. He was really cool, and my favorite part was when he and Mando were joking around, saying stuff like, take off the armor, and he's all like, right in front of the kid, dude? I thought that joke was pretty funny, and I especially like how in the opening scene, we have this moment where Mando is at like this wrestling ring with those guys from Jabba's palace, whatever those creatures are called. And I like how when he's about to get all, he's about to like just kill all the guys there, Baby Yoda's like, okay, I'm going to sleepy time now so I don't die. I thought that was pretty funny. And yeah, I thought the episode was pretty good. My only problem is that the length, because it did feel like a mini movie, but it is not an episode I want to watch in one sitting ever again because of how long it is, and dear God, it got kind of tiring after a bit. But I still liked it. On to episode 2. Now, this episode is about Mando basically being a taxi driver to this frog woman who needs to get her and her babies over in order to, meet up with her husband. And I thought it was a really nice moment, a really nice episode. I mean, I would say this is probably my least favorite episode in the entire season, other than episode 1, but I thought this was pretty good. Oh, and I forgot to mention that the Marshal, yeah, he's wearing Boba Fett's armor. So, yeah, we're definitely going to talk about Boba Fett later on in the review. But anyway, back to episode 2. And I really liked how we get this whole scene where when Mando is taking the woman into, space, he gets pulled over, and I really liked it. It was this scene where 2 X-Wing pilots, one of them being played by Dave Filoni, which, yeah, this happened in the season 1, but I thought that was kind of cool they did that again. And it's basically that type of scene where it's all like, hey, do you have your license and registration? No, I do not, sir. Okay, we got a runner. I thought that was pretty funny. And yeah, and I also really like the cave scene where we had these like spider creatures, and Mando's all like, oh man, I'm going to have to kill all these babies. And my favorite moment was when Baby Yoda actually ate babies. No, I'm not kidding. Baby Yoda eats babies. That is probably the darkest thing ever in Star Wars, if I'm being honest. Okay, I kid, of course, but dear God, that scene was messed up, but hilarious and cute. And yeah, now it's time to talk about episode 3, and this is where we get the really, really good episodes. And I must say, episode 3 is easily one of the best in this entire season. It starts off with this really nice moment where the frog woman meets her husband, and that was a nice moment. And then, Mando gets jumped while thinking these guys are good guys, only to be saved by Bo-Katan. Yeah, we have... I mean, don't get me wrong, it was promised that we would have some old characters coming back, and the way Bo-Katan was in this season was really cool. Yeah, it is fan service, but it has a point to it, okay? And the action in this entire episode was just a spectacle to behold. It was just marvelous. And I also really like how we get a reveal that Mando is part of a cult. Yeah. And they even bring up how the person who started this cult was Pre Vizsla from the Clone Wars cartoon. That's some pretty good continuity there, and it makes sense. And I really liked how I said this before, but the action in this entire episode is just marvelous, especially with the Mandalorians, and they looked really, really good. I really liked how they adapted the armor for Bo-Katan. It looks just like it did in the cartoon, except live action. It looks perfect. And I even like how it's revealed that Moff Gideon is still alive and kicking, and we even get this sort of build up to how the First Order was found, because they explain that how, like, there are still many, even though the Death Star was blown up and the Emperor was killed, there are still some other Imperials still trying to bring it back. This is something I wish was explored in the sequel trilogy, because, yeah, the First Order just basically came out of nowhere, and it would have been nice if we got some explanation, other than looking at the comics. Sorry, but if the comics don't come with the movie, why should we care? I'm just saying. And I really liked how they explored that angle in this season, which we'll get onto later. And yeah, it was a really good episode, and one of my personal favorites. On to episode 4, where Mando needs some repairs, and he goes back to where the end of season 1, where he meets up with characters such as Cara Dune, Jeff, I think that's his name. I'm sorry, Carl Withers, Apollo Creed. I'm just going to call him Apollo Creed now. And one thing I noticed in the background that my brother pointed out to me was that there's a certain point in the background where they have this statue of IG, which I thought was really nice, but he's a robot. You can just rebuild him. Like, seriously. In the first season, the guy who died even said that, oh, I just rebuilt him. Why can't you do that with IG-88? You know what I mean? And also, we get this really cute scene of Baby Yoda at school, and he's all like, no, these are my snacks. And I just want an entire spin-off show of Baby Yoda at a school. It looks so adorable. And while that's happening, Mando is going with the other characters to go to this Imperial base and basically blow it up. And they even bring back that guy from the first season, the first episode, who Mando had to put in carbonite, and there's a running gag about how, hey, if you do this, I'll take a couple of decades off your sentence. And I thought that was a really funny gag. It didn't go overboard, it just felt right. And we even find out that Cara Dune was actually from Alderaan before it got, well, Eggman to death. But still. And one of my favorite moments in this episode was the chase scene. Dear Lord, the chase scene was just beautiful. It was action-packed, thrilling, and we even had this cute scene of Baby Yoda just like waving his hands in the air. I'm just like, I just want to squeeze him so much. He's so adorable. And yeah, it was a really charming episode. I really liked it. On to episode 5, and this was the episode I was looking forward to the most, because they bring Ahsoka Tano into live action, and I was kind of worried about this a little bit, because don't get me wrong, I love Ahsoka Tano as a character. I thought to myself, okay, we just had the Siege of Mandalore literally a couple months before this season came out. So I'm going to be like, okay, are they able to do Ahsoka just as right as in all the other Star Wars things she's been in, including being the best part of Rise of Skywalker? Dear God, that movie was a bit of a mess, but at least Ahsoka was in it, and she was actually pretty cool in that movie. But yeah, the way they did Ahsoka in this entire episode was amazing, and the plot is that basically Mando is ordered to kill Ahsoka. Why do I keep calling her Ahsoku? What am I, M. Night Shyamalan? but he doesn't do that because he's all like, wait, you're a Jedi, and Bo-Katan told me to sent me to tell you about stuff, and yeah, because again, I forgot to mention this, but Bo-Katan said, hey, if you're looking for a Jedi, go to my girl Ahsoka Tano. She can hit you up and help you out. And we actually get the reveal of Baby Yoda's name. His name is Gogurt. I mean Grogu. I'm sorry. A friend of mine told me that joke, and I just had to use it in this review. So yeah, if you're out there, you know who you are. So thank you for the joke idea. I tip my hat to you. And I really like this bonding moment between Ahsoka, Mando, and Grogu, and it was just really nice. And they even say that, oh, hey, he spent like years training in the Jedi Temple, and he was even like saved before Anakin could kill him. So I guess he was the only youngling that was spared from Anakin's wrath. Okay. And I just really liked the way Rosario Dawson played Ahsoka Tano. She did it with such amazingness, and it really felt like the character from the Clone Wars and Rebels. And my only issue with this episode was that, like, at the end, there's this really epic fight going on with Ahsoka and Mando just killing these guys left and right. Basically, they're trying to free a town from this Imperial officer lady, and she is actually found out to be the apprentice of Grand Admiral Thrawn, which I thought was really cool. But my only problem with the episode was that when we do get this really cool scene of Ahsoka fighting this woman, it does cut away a bit to this other scene where Mando is talking to the girl's second in command. And I get that's there just for comedy, but I'm just like, can we please go back to the other fight? It was so cool. And yeah, I really wish we got to see more of that fight. But yeah, it was still a pretty decent fight, not gonna lie. And at first I was all like, no, please don't take away Grogu from me. We need more scenes, we need more episodes with Grogu and Mando. And thankfully, Ahsoka's all like, yeah, I'm not gonna do that. I have to chase after Thrawn and find where Ezra Bridger is. So you would take care of the child and you'll find a different Jedi. But I can lead you to a Jedi homing beacon, basically, where if you put him on the thing, he'll send out a message to all the other Jedis out there. So yeah, that was nice. And then we get on to episode 6, where when Mando gets Grogu to the place, he is visited by a character we all know as Boba Fett. And I must say, Boba Fett in this episode, like, here's the thing. Boba Fett was never a fan favorite of mine. Like, he looked cool in the prequels. I mean, he did some stuff, but he got treated like dirt in episode 6, where he was just standing around and then got defeated by a half-blind person. And I was all like, okay, I wasn't a big fan of Boba Fett. I was more of a Jango Fett guy. And then we got the Clone Wars cartoon, where we actually got to see Boba Fett's lust for revenge on Mace Windu, which I thought was pretty interesting. And then in this season, they just made Boba Fett a complete badass. Like, I'm not even joking. He is just killing these stormtroopers left and right like it ain't no thing, going John Wick on them. And, editor of the video, could you please show us all a clip of Boba Fett being a badass? Please, it is just amazing. Thank you. And yeah, it was just brutal as hell, and I am more than excited for his own spin-off show that's coming out next year. Oh yeah, I'm supposed to say that for the end of the review. Dang it. But anyway, while that's happening, while Boba Fett, that other girl with the sniper rifle, and Mando are killing these guys left and right, well, mostly Boba and his bounty hunter friend. Mando was just getting slapsticked, which I thought was a problem, since I'm like, dude, if it didn't work the first 2 times, it's not going to work the 3rd time where you're trying to get Grogu out of that place. But still, I just want to say this right now about the action again. It was so brutal. Like, he is pretty much like grabbing this club and he's like bashing this stormtrooper's face in it. I was like, damn, this is some John Wick stuff. But still, and then what happens is that the ship that Mando has gets destroyed, which my brother pointed out to me is something that's been building up throughout this entire season, like how it's been getting damaged and needing repairs, which I thought was nice how they paid that off with it getting destroyed. And at the end of the episode, Mando actually gets Baby Yoda taken away because Moff Gideon sends in, I'm not joking, these robot death troopers called the Dark Troopers, and they just take him away Iron Man style. They just like fly up in the air. I'm just like, I just really want to make a Jarvis initiate house party protocol scene. I want to do that. I'm sorry. And another scene of Boba Fett being a badass is that he launches his rocket at a ship, and it takes down another ship with it, and he just turns around like it ain't no thing. And I'm just like, perfection. And yeah, it was a really cool episode. And then we get on to episode 7, where they inquire the help of Mayfield, that character from the first season, who was a bit of a jerk, and they need his help in order to go into an Imperial base in order to find out where Grogu is. And I really like how they show off Mando taking off his helmet more often. Like, he's slowly becoming, it's like visual storytelling where he's willing to do anything for Grogu, so he's going to have to, change a little bit in order to do it. And I really like that, where he's even like changing into like a stormtrooper outfit, and we get this really awesome chase scene, again, where they're trying to take these like exploding reacting things to the base while there's pirates there. And I really like how in this fight scene, even though Mando would appreciate these guys, taking down the Empire, he has to go to the Empire facility in order to save Grogu, so he has to kill them. And the fight that follows is also a brutal but awesome fight. They don't show the guys' bones breaking, but these guys suffer the worst amount of deaths, like being crushed in between the giant wheels of the car or the truck they're in. I'm like, dang it, this is brutal, but I love it. And it's not overly brutal like with Zack Snyder's films. They just want to like show you all the bones breaking and stuff. No, here they don't show that, but you can feel the impact of it, which I liked. And also another thing I really liked about this episode was that even though they hate the Empire, they're being like applauded like heroes by all of them by being the only, guys to get the stuff there. And there is this really suspenseful scene where Baby Yoda, no, not Baby Yoda, I mean, sorry, where they're at this cafeteria place with this guy that Mayfield used to serve under, and you can feel like Mayfield's anger for this guy because this guy was a really irresponsible leader. He got so many innocent people killed, and they imply that Mayfield was the only survivor of that thing other than himself, other than the guy who ordered it. And he just has like this pent-up anger for this guy, and I was all like, okay, this guy, Mayfield better shoot him, and he did, and it was pretty epic, and how they pretty much like kill all the other guys in the base, and Mayfield asked to borrow a sniper rifle from Boba, and they blow it up, which I thought was really cool. And yeah, it was a really solid episode. In fact, it even ends with this little scene with Grogu pretty much like forcing stormtroopers on the ground, spinning them like records, which reminded me of how I played Star Wars The Force Unleashed, where I basically used the Force to spin the guys around like a record player. And Moff Gideon comes in with a darksaber and is like, oh, you want this, don't you? Not until you're a big boy. I don't know, I just found that kind of charming. And and the Mandalorian calls him with repeating the same words that Moff said to him in the first season, which I thought was a nice callback. And then we're on to the final episode, and it's pretty much an all-out team-up with the team of Mando, Cara Dune, Boba, the Sniper Lady, and the Mandalorians led by Bo-Katan. And one thing that kind of bothered me about this episode was, where was Jeff from earlier in the season? Like, he wants to save the child. Like, they show that he cares for the child just as much as Mando, so why isn't he being called in to help them? I mean, I get that he's supposed to be like the mayor of the town, but come on. He cares that much for Baby Yoda, so couldn't he just find a replacement for the time being so he can save him? But either way, it was a really cool scene of them like busting into the Imperial place, and I really liked this episode for how much it felt like a finale, where them breaking in, trying to do all they can to save Grogu, with them splitting up into teams with, Mando having to go by himself to find him. And there's this really intense scene where like the Dark Troopers come in and they just like pounding on his face, and it's just brutal. Like, it's kind of that thing I really like where even though he's wearing a helmet, you can just imagine the pain that's going on to him. Like, what's happening with his face right now? Is he gonna look all bent out of shape? I know if that happened to me, if I wasn't wearing a helmet, my face would look like, well, mashed potatoes, but still. And he pretty much kills them in a smart way by, using that air thing that sucks them out into space. And then we get this really cool fight with him and Moff Gideon, which I thought was really cool. I like how with Moff Gideon, even though he was defeated in the first season, he still comes back and he still feels like a major threat. He has that intimidation to him, which I really like, and the actor does a certainly good job. I mean, to be fair, he was Gus in Breaking Bad, so he knows how to play intimidating villains. And it ends with Mando taking the Darksaber, and even though he's the ruler of Mandalore now because the one who has it is the ruler, and Bo-Katan's all like, hey, I want that saber, and Moff Gideon's trying to trick them into fighting each other. And I like how in this scene, even though Bo-Katan wants that saber badly by trial of combat, Mando's just like, I don't want to be ruler of Mandalore, just take it, I don't care. But then, stuff hits the fan by having the dark soldiers coming back to kill all of them, and they're coming back like these T-800s, and then an X-Wing shows up, and then we get the greatest scene ever. We get Luke Skywalker showing up on his X-Wing and just destroying these soldiers left to right with such elegance and grace that is just perfect. And I love how he even uses the Force. He does that Force choke thing, except he's crushing them in the inside out, and it looks beautiful, and I loved that entire scene. Of course, people were reminded of that scene in Rogue One with Darth Vader. I was too, because, well, I didn't look up anything for this episode when I first watched it on its opening release, because I woke up at 8 in the morning, and then my brother was all like, Sean, get your ass downstairs, we gotta watch it right now. And it was just incredible. I actually cried, not gonna lie, when that scene. Too bad it was ruined when they had to show off the CGI for Luke's face, and oh god, it looks horrible. It looks not very good. Oh god. But yeah. And he decides to take Grogu for training, and we get this really emotional scene with Mando and Grogu, and I cried, not gonna lie. And yeah. Though, it does make me wonder, was Grogu killed when Kylo Ren, destroyed Luke's temple? Is Baby Yoda gonna get killed? Oh god! But, and yeah. Though there is an after credit scene with Boba Fett killing that guy who was the second in command to Jabba the Hutt, with the second in command basically becoming Jabba the Hutt with how fat he is. And we get a teaser for a Boba Fett spinoff. So that was Mandalorian Season 2, and I overall really liked it. I actually loved this season so much, and I would instantly rewatch it anytime. I feel like this is an amazing season, and if this was the end of The Mandalorian as a show, I think that they ended off with a bang. It's always good to end off with a bang, rather than, keep making more seasons and just losing the impact. Cough, Family Guy, cough. But yeah, I really loved it, and I'm interested to see what they're going to do with the Season 3, and I'm also interested in what they're going to do with the Boba Fett spinoff. But yeah, overall, guys, I'm going to give The Mandalorian Season 2 a solid 9 out of 10. Other than the Siege of Mandalore, this is the best thing to come out of Disney buying Star Wars. It was just near perfect. If the first 2 episodes were a bit better, this would be a 10 out of 10, if I'm being honest. It would be a 10 out of 10, no questions asked, if the first 2 episodes were a bit better. So that's my thoughts on The Mandalorian Season 2. I know it's late, but yeah. So what do you guys think of this review, and what did you think of The Mandalorian Season 2? Post it down in the comments below, and my throat is killing me from this video. I'm recording, and I've gone on the past 23 minutes just not taking a single break.